What's going on, world? DS1 Ross. I'm back. Shout out to the Alliance. Shout out to all my supporters. Sheep Stay Sleep TV, Sheep Stay Sleep Live, Sheep Stay Sleep Podcast. Shout out to everybody who support me. Shout out to everybody who gonna come through and listen tonight. Just came through. And I came up with this topic because of a lot of recent things that's been going on YouTube. A lot of things been being exposed as far as molestation and pedophilia. So I came up with this topic, the overprotection of our youth. And is it beneficial or is it detrimental for the future? Or will it be detrimental for our child's future? The overprotection of our youth, basically our children. Do we actually think overprotection is a bad thing? Do we think overprotection is a good thing? At what age do you think, and this is just some things going through my mind. What age do you think a child should stop being overprotected? And I ask these questions because a lot of us say that being overprotective or being overbearing can be a bad thing. It can ultimately hurt a child. So I want to know, based on the things that y'all been hearing going on with this whole Bambata epidemic, and even the recent allegations with these people in Hollywood, do y'all think that being overprotective of your child or your children, do you really think it's a bad thing? Or do you think it's something that is needed? Do you think that that's something that's missing? Because from what my parents explained to me, their parents was very overprotective. It just seems like the whole back in the day thing, the children were much more protected in a lot of ways. And I'm going to say protected from outsiders. That's why a lot of things that happened to people back in those times, it happened from people within their families. Because you'll never think or you'll never feel that you have to protect your child from somebody in your family. So this is why I also brought this topic up. The overprotection of our youth. Do I feel like our children should be overly protected? Yes, I do. I overly protect my children. Yes, I do. Am I extreme with it? No. But I'm always on them about things. I constantly warn them about things. They must always pay attention when we're out at all times. That's a must. Some people just allow their children to just run around and, la, 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 in that type of world. Some people think when you overprotect it, that you're afraid. And the truth of the matter is, I'm definitely afraid. I am. I'm just being real. I am overly protective of my children because I'm afraid that there's people that's out to hurt my children. I definitely believe that. I believe there's a lot of sickos, a whole lot of sickos out here. And I believe they're out to hurt my children. There's a lot of children that are out here to hurt other children also. I also believe that too. This is why with my 12-year-old, I always remind him to protect himself also. And not to just protect himself physically, but mentally and socially also. Beware of who you're talking to. Don't tell everybody where you live. Don't volunteer information. Don't do these things. You must protect yourself because there is people out here that's trying to hurt you. We're in a sick and crazy world. We are. This is a sick and crazy world, y'all. So I believe that if we just took a few pages out of the old school book as far as protecting our children, a lot of these things won't happen from outsiders. And we must even take it a step further now and protect our children even from other family members. Because from a lot of the information that I got, and I mean just talking to people and people that I hear speak, a lot of them has been molested or raped from people in their family. They've been abused from people in their family. And then it goes to the next level where they allow other people on the outside to hurt them. So we must begin to train our children to always speak up. Never be afraid to talk. Don't think you're going to get in trouble. Always protect your genitalia. You know, don't when you spend a night at family members' houses, wear pajamas. Don't walk around in your underwear. And this goes for men. I'm speaking about young boys. Because you go up in the house and you with your dad and your mom and you little, you running around the house in your drawers. You're not thinking nobody looking at you in that way because you around your parents. But you may be at your cousin's house and they might be looking at you a certain way. Or their dad may be looking at you a certain way, or their mom. So we have to start taking much more precautions. And communication is key with our children. We always must let them know that we're here to protect them at all costs. You know, we must let them know that you're precious to us and we're not going to allow anyone to hurt you. This is why you need to speak up. Speaking up is a healthy thing. If someone's trying to hurt you, you come and tell us. Even if it's somebody in your family, you come and tell us. And don't ever feel ashamed about coming and telling us. Because if we don't know how to address the situation. And see, this is why I feel like men need to make it their business to be there for their children and to have a very open and solid relationship with their children. Because as the first line of defense is a man in the house. This is why when the police come to the door, they don't want to talk to the man. They want to talk to the woman because then they know they can do anything in this house. But if they knock on the door and the man answer the door, the situation is going to be totally different. They're going to assess the situation different. They're going to be a lot more careful. So us men, we have to start really making a conscious effort to be there, whether we in the home with our children or we're not. That relationship has to be built and it has to be solid, man. Because see, a lot of this stuff goes on when dads are not around. The majority of the time. I'm not going to say all the time, but the majority of the time, a lot of these things happen when there's no men in the house. And I'm talking about the dads. When a woman has nobody there to protect her and the pride, intruders are going to always come and take over. You can even look at that in nature. When a woman doesn't have a man there to protect the pride, the babies get eaten. You could watch that on the Nature Channel any day because there's predators. Predators are just not people, you see? Because to be predatorial is a mindset. And we have to let our children know that there's predators out there and there's people who prey on children. See, we cannot be afraid to have these types of conversations with our children, no matter how young they are. I'm not saying tell this to a 2 or 3-year-old because they wouldn't understand it. But if your child is 7 years of age and up, they should understand what a stranger is and all of that stuff. They should know what body parts that should not be being touched by anyone but their parents or themselves. And they should know that that's wrong. And see, when a child understands that and they feel comfortable with coming and talking to you, then you'll know certain things. No one can pressure them not to tell. You see, a lot of us as children, the one thing we never wanted to be looked at as a tattleteller. And this is why a lot of children hide bad things that happen to them. This is why. And a lot of times too, some children may be afraid not to speak up because they know what type of parents they have too. So they keep it under wraps because they know they got a stand up dad or stand up mom or both. And if they were to tell what happened, something could get real drastic. And children, are afraid, to lose their parents. So I don't want to tell because I know if I tell my dad, he gonna go and hurt somebody. Then I might not have my dad no more. So I'd rather keep my dad and just act like it never happened. See, these are the things that's going on in our communities. It's going on in a lot of people's houses. It's going on in a lot of families. But we don't never want to have these conversations. We don't want to have these conversations. because it's taboo. It's taboo. This is why we must begin to raise our children more with a strict hand. We have to be much more strict with our children. We got to stop being so lax, because when you in relax mode, shit happens. Shit happens. And see, when you in that relaxed state and then something happens, that's when you go into maniac mode and you black out, because you never thought that this would happen. But this is very common to people. Very, very common. You know, we're losing a lot of our young black men and women to the streets because we're not ruling with a strict hand. We're giving them too much ultimatums. We're letting them choose too much when there's certain things that a child's supposed to do when they don't have a choice. See, we're getting too loose with our kids. This is why we're losing our kids. Our kids are getting caught up in things they shouldn't be getting caught up in, but they're getting caught up in them because you too loose. You leaving them to make the decision, forgetting that they're your child, or forgetting that they're a child, period. Because your children gonna always be your children. But we're giving them too much choices. We're letting them fall and figure it out on their own too much. Nah, you don't do that until they start growing up, until they 13, 14, 15 years old. And even then, certain areas in their life, you must be the guardian. And you don't guard by force. You guard by knowledge, by teaching them. And sometimes you may have to spank a little ass too to make sure they stay in line. See, a lot of us that grew up getting spankings, a lot of us were getting abused. This is why a lot of us don't discipline our children in that way anymore, because a lot of us was getting abused. You see, we didn't get what I call spankings. We got our ass whooped. See, that's abuse. You see, but spankings are healthy, because one thing I know, having children test you. They test you, especially boys. As they start getting older, they gonna test dad. They gonna test mom, and they might push it to the limit. And you just might have to stop talking and show them who you are. Show them why they're the child when you're the parent. And why I say this is healthy is because we see a lot of our children getting abused by police because they don't know how to act in the streets. You see? You don't know how to follow directions, have self-control. So they have police officers there that'll kill your son, that'll kill your out of control team. But see, how do we limit that? By stop letting them be out of control in the house. By being guardians, watching who your children hang out with, being mindful of who they hang around. That's very important. Who you talk to? It's not, oh, my parents is always in my business. Yeah, as long as you in my house, I'ma be in your business. See, we have to go back to that. It's no, oh, after a certain age, I'm not supposed to do certain things. Only if you're not in my house. Then I won't be doing those things. But if you're my child and you're in my house, I'm gonna know what you're doing. You can't hide nothing from me. Lying is not permissible. See, when you allow your children to lie to you, what you're doing is you're opening up a realm for them to do anything and use the lie as a way to get away with it. And this is why the protection must come from both parents also. You can't have one parent that's one way and then another parent is super relaxed because that's how accidents happen too. I lost my uncle like that. My uncle, he was hanging out with a bad friend. Now, my grandfather, he was the strict one, he was the guardian. And he knew the dude my uncle was hanging out with was a thief, was a liar, was a lot of other things. So my dad, well, my granddad, he used to tell my uncle, you can hang out with him, but you only can hang out with him on this block where we live. Because then everybody can monitor what y'all doing. So one day he wants to go over to his friend's house, which is the next block over, just the next block. Now, he know he not supposed to go over there. So he go and ask my grandfather first, which he already knew my grandfather was going to tell him no because he already told him, you only deal with this dude on a block. So he goes, overrides the rule of the guardian. This is another natural thing that children do when they want what they want. If you tell them no, they'll go ask the other parent. And what did my grandmother do? She told him, yeah, go ahead. Now, my grandfather already explained to my grandmother a long time ago why he didn't want my uncle going anywhere off this block with him. But what did my grandmother do? Overrode the protection of her man. See? So now that opened up a realm for something tragic to happen. And it did. My uncle lost his life at 16 years old. He went to his friend's house not knowing that his friend, who he knew got into a lot of stuff, stole somebody's moped, parked the moped in front of the house. The dudes who he stole the moped from came back and set the whole house on fire. Killed my uncle and killed his friend's grandmother. She was in a wheelchair. 16 years old, I lost my uncle. Never got a chance to meet him. Because he felt like my grandfather was too overprotective. He wanted to go do what he wanted to do with his friends. He didn't see nothing wrong with going to hang out at his house. He didn't see that my grandfather was protecting him from himself and from a bad person. and he lost his life. 16 years old, he lost his life. Something that could have totally been avoided. But he thought it wasn't beneficial to be overly protected. He thought he was missing something. And we have to explain to our children that they're not missing nothing in this world. You got a whole life ahead of you. But you got to be here to see it. And disobeying your parents can cost you your life. When they say honor thy mother and thy father, they're not just talking about honoring their existence as them being here, but honoring their word and their commands. Or what? Your days shall be numbered. I lost my uncle when he was 16. Never got a chance to meet him. Because he thought it was a detriment. And I always explain this story to my 12-year-old son and tell him why you may think dad is being rough on you. But when you grow up and become a man, you'll see why. You'll get it in the end. And see, being that my dad lost his brother at a young age, when I was 16, my father was much more harder on me. I used to have to be in the house 2 o'clock, 2 a.m. when I was 16, 17 years old. No matter where I was at, I had to be in the house by 2 a.m. That killed me because back then, we was getting in grown-up clubs, me and my homies. The party didn't start till 1. The club ain't really get rocking till 1, 1:30. 2 o'clock, I gotta leave. You know? But I'm still here to this day. And thank God, a lot of my friends who was able to stay out past that time, a lot of them is still here too. But he was being overprotective because he was afraid that what happened to his brother would happen to me. Because my dad knew we was getting into little stuff too. It wasn't like, I hung out with nerds, because I didn't. But I had a curfew. I had a curfew till I was 18. 18. I had a curfew all the way till I was 18. And my dad took the curfew off because he told me one day that he see that I made it past the age that my uncle died. So he was happy for that. So that's when he took the curfew off. That's when he took a lot of the cuffs off of me, basically. But if we don't begin to see that overprotecting our children as something that's imperative nowadays, we'll keep losing more and more children to Facebook. We'll keep losing more and more children to Instagram. A lot of these young girls is getting kidnapped. Where do you think that's coming from? There's no way these things should be happening. And I'm not saying it like it's impossible, but we have to be there, man. And we have to make our presence known and felt at all times. You have to let your child know that they are your children. You're my child. You're not my equal. You're not my friend. I'm friendly with you, but you're not my friend. I'm dad. and I'm friendly with you because I love you. But no, we're not friends. Because no, we're not on the same level. You can't do what I could do. You see? So we have to begin to explain that to our children constantly. I talk to my son all the time, especially my 12-year-old. He in middle school. He in the 7th grade. Talk to him all the time. I tell him about his friends. Sometimes he don't like it. I don't care. And I tell him I don't care. I don't care if you got an attitude. What your attitude mean to me? Because if something happened to you, somebody gonna have a problem. But I don't want something to happen to you at your own expense because you want to be hard-headed, because you want to be cool. Be thankful that you have parents that care that much, because a lot of these children don't have parents that do. Like I always tell them, a strong foundation builds a strong character. Your character has to be strong. I don't want you growing up and being a follower. You're going to grow up and be a leader and stand amongst leaders and be an innovator, not an imitator. But see, those things come with protection. You got to protect them from things because children want to be accepted by their friends. But sometimes you can be seeking acceptance from the wrong people. And a lot of children fall into that category. A lot of these children fall into those pitfalls when they don't have to. Embrace who you are. Embrace the fact that you're different. I'm trying to fit in with everybody. I tell my son that. If you hanging around bozos, they're going to consider you a bozo. So if you want to be Bozo the Clown and join the circus, you'll be in the circus. But people don't respect clowns. That's how I talk to them. I let them know women like stand-up men, men who can stand on their own, not a man who needs a crutch, not a man who needs to be around a group to feel strong, to feel empowered, to have a sense of self. You need to be you at all times, whether you around them or whether you're not. And our children need to hear this because I believe this will stop a lot of things from happening. That happens. You see? Before I continue, I'm going to give a few shout outs in the chat. Thanks for people coming out tonight. Shout out to my brother, The Darkness Awakens. Shout out to Negro Live, Negro Live. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Majestic, what's going on, sweetness? V-Dub Boogie, what's up, bro? Nehemiah Israel, peace, big bro. And you're right, Majestic. Some parents do force the children a lot. And they do that because a lot of these parents, a lot of things that happen to their children happened to them when they were children. And they were forced to tell lies. These are family secrets. But the way we break those things is we have to start letting our children know we'll go against the world if they were to come after you, even people in your family. See, that's how I talk to my boys. I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is. See, that's one thing we don't allow. We don't lie to our children, and we don't allow them to lie to us, because that creates confusion. It creates a false sense of communication when y'all sitting up there keeping the lies going. And that's how the secrets, and shit gets swept under the rug. That's how it always happened. Shout out to Krista Taylor. Peace to you, sis. Peace to Rose. How you doing, sis? Elm City, what up? Shout out to you too, sis. Suge, what's up, bro? Shout out to you too, bro. Yeah, I do got another show at 10:30 coming up tonight. Definitely. But we definitely, that's true. That's true. Some parents do force the children to lie because they was forced to lie when they were children. This is why we have to begin to break the cycle. And it starts with us health properly communicating with our children and not being afraid to hurt nobody's feelings. See, a lot of these parents nowadays, they done got soft, man. They done got too soft. And this is why a lot of the children is running the households, because you don't want to make your child mad at you, because you're more of your child's friend than their parent. And that's a problem, because children want guidance. Children want honesty. They want protection. They don't want to be lied to. They don't want to be misled. They don't want to feel a sense of abandonment. They want to know that you're there. They want to know that if something happens to them, you're going to do something about it. They want that. But a lot of us get caught up in thinking that we need to just be our children's friend, when no, you're not the friend, you're the parent. Be friendly. I'm not my children's friend. I'm friendly with my children. You have your friends in school, because don't ever think you could come and talk to me like you talking to your friend. Don't ever think you can treat me like you treat your friends. This is why you cannot be your children's friend. You can be friendly. There's a difference. You see? And being overprotective is not being a dictator. It's not. Like I said, it's about being a guardian. Like it have on their student forms that you got to fill out. It says parent/guardian, because that's one and the same. And that's what we need to be. So we could stop having, these guys like Hassan Campbell running around, who's protecting their predator, who doesn't want their predator to receive any consequences behind what he has done to him since he was a child. And I could understand why he doesn't, because the first person who ever molested him, he didn't get them in trouble. And this is a common thing in families where these things get swept under the rug. Abuse, sexual abuse, it gets swept under the rug. These things been happening to children. Now we're finding out a bunch of celebrities were molesting children. R. Kelly ran a pedophile ring where he had a whole ring of young girls. But see, when I was watching my man Corey Holcomb, he's from Chicago. And he knew a lot of people who hung out with R. Kelly. And they said he'd been going after young girls since he was a young man. When he was 21, 22, he was up at high schools trying to recruit young girls. This is why a young girl shouldn't listen to R. Kelly. So women, stop playing R. Kelly around your daughters, because he don't want you, he wants your daughter. You remind me of my Jeep. Listen to that. He's talking to little girls. He's not talking to you grown women. You see? And he had this pedophile ring going since these girls were young. Now they're grown women. And what they're saying, oh, he never touched me like that because he paid them off. Y'all can look up the Mickey Mouse Club, well-known pedophile ring with the Disney kids from Disney Channel. Raven Simone, Orlando Brown. You see how crazy he been going the past couple years? Exposing Hollywood and exposing the industry, how they been getting molested since they were children. Why none of these kids' parents are speaking out about this? Because they're getting paid off to sweep it under the rug. Because they were never there to protect their children. It even goes on in the pageant world with these young girls becoming pageants. This stuff is real, y'all. And we think it's wrong to be overly protective. We think that that's wrong. It's not wrong. It's what we're supposed to do. And we're supposed to be that way till we know and feel comfortable that our children can protect themselves. And the number one way that a child protects themselves is by making right decisions. I'm not going that way, I'm going this way. It's not looking right down that street. I'm gonna go down this street. That starts with awareness. But we so caught up in being our children's friend, we don't want to hurt their feelings. We don't want them to be mad at us. You know how much I was mad at my dad? When I used to have to come in the house 1 o'clock in the morning, and it's Saturday, my friends and them still in the club. I'm at home. But that taught me a lot. Even though a lot of the stuff he did was out of fear. But that's healthy fear. I don't know what I would do if something was to happen to one of my children. I don't even know how I would react. This is why protection is key. And the way our women should be overly protective with our children, y'all have to start being honest, ladies. Stop lying to the kids. Stop trying to massage their egos with the little boys and the little girls. Stop making these little girls look older than what they are, because they're predators out here. Don't put no tights on that little girl. She a little girl. Why she wearing tights? She ain't supposed to be wearing tights since she 14, 15 years old. You got tights on a 6-year-old baby. Don't be putting your kids on people's laps, boys and girls. And I'm talking about anybody. Because it's our responsibility to see that they're protected. It's our responsibility. We can't blame nobody else. We have to blame ourselves. We can't blame the world. We got to stop blaming the world. The world's going to be what it's going to be. Like Ving Rhames told Tyrese and Baby Boy, you living the same thing I already saw, boy. This is a repeat. So things in this world is not going to change. It's going to be what it's going to be. It's up to us as the parents and the guardians of our children to see to it that certain things don't happen. And I'm not saying we can stop everything. I'd be a fool to say that. But if it does happen, we need our children to speak up so something can be done. So our children ain't growing up dysfunctional adults because they have to live with the fact that certain things they went through every day in their life affected them up until adulthood because they never had a voice to speak, because they knew that their parents didn't want to listen to them. This is why I say you can't protect by force, because a lot of our parents were so strict that we couldn't have an opinion. We didn't have a voice. We couldn't speak up because when we spoke up, we were told to stay in the child's place. See, I'm not talking about that because that type of things create dysfunction. Those type of things that's fed to your children opens that realm up to them being hurt and them not feeling comfortable coming to tell you because they think, oh, you lying. Oh, this is not the truth. Oh, that didn't happen. Oh, you're exaggerating. So this is why a lot of children have to live with it up until they're adults. So we have to provide a safe, clean, and healthy environment for our children. The relationship must be healthy between us and our children, and it must be open. This is why I say on another show, we can't let sex be taboo, because sex is a natural occurrence. You see? Because a lot of young men get molested by women too. They get molested by girls, by younger girls too. And then because certain areas of them are being stimulated, they're not talking about it because they think that's what's supposed to happen. But nobody should be touching you, young man, when you 7, 8 years old, even if it's a girl. A girl shouldn't be climbing on top of you when you 8, 9 years old. That's not cool. Even if down there is being stimulated. That's not cool. That's wrong. That's wrong. And we have to provide the environment where they could come and speak out about it. We can't make them feel like, you know, this is something that we shouldn't be talking about. Oh, you too young to hear this. No, you're not. Because if something happens to you, you're gonna feel like you're gonna feel ashamed to come and speak about it. You see? So we must become overprotective over our children. We're I mean constantly talking to them. I be on my son's back. I know sometimes they be like, damn. But I want them to know daddy cares. Daddy love you. I'm not telling you this because I want to control you. I told my 12-year-old this last week when we was talking. Your parents are not here to control you. Your parents are here to teach and guide you. Just like you have teachers in school, your parents are your first teachers. Who you think taught you how to walk? Who you think taught you how to write? We're your first teachers. We're your first guidance counselors. We're your first nurses. Everything you got in school is right here in your house. We're the first in line. And we teaching out of love. We're teaching out of love, man. So that's what we got to start doing, family. I definitely wanted to come here tonight and build on this, man, because this subject has ran rampant through the community. I'm going to say for the past month and a half, damn near 2 months. And I think these things are happening because we're not protecting our youth the right way. We're not protecting our children, man. There's a lot of hurt and damaged children because they don't have a place to come and speak out. They feel ashamed. They feel abandoned. They're scared. Then we wonder why the youth going crazy out. The shit started in their household. It didn't start when they walked out the house. It started inside. So this is what we got to deal with, family. So shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Shout out to everybody. Thanks for hitting that like button. Thanks for coming again to Sheep Stay Sleep TV. Let me see what's going on in the chat. Shout out to King Alexander. Shout out to you, bro. Thanks for coming through. Welcome to Sheep Stay Sleep TV, man. Oh, you had to go, Majestic? Peace to you, sis. LSJ, peace to you, sis. Shout out to everybody, man. You know, thanks for tuning in tonight. This gonna be a short one again. I'm going again live tonight again with my brother, my MGTOW brother, Daywan Anderson. So y'all tune in. You know, make sure y'all hit that bell. If y'all haven't subscribed, make sure y'all hit that bell for that notification. I should be on between 10:30 and 11 o'clock tonight. We going in on the gender war, y'all. I feel like it's a gender war brewing. And it's starting to brew on social media. So me and my brother gonna talk tonight about that, because I learned that the MGTOW brothers, they speak on that heavy. So I definitely want to get his perspective and along with others. So tonight I will be putting the link out, so if y'all want to come on and chime in on the subject, y'all will. Y'all can rather. So between 10:30 and 11 o'clock tonight, y'all, going in on a gender war. The gender war that's brewing. Because it's a lot of, I see a lot of it. It's just crazy out here. So shout out again to everybody in the chat for coming through and supporting Sheep Stay Sleep TV. If you haven't yet, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell for all future notifications. And stay in tune, man. Sheep Stay Sleep TV. Sheep Stay Sleep. Wise ones awoke. And remember, y'all, we have to heal before we build. Because if we build before we heal, we'll destroy from the inside. And we need to stop having all these self-inflicted wounds if we trying to rebuild our community. So let's heal before we build, y'all. Till next time. Peace.